The episode kicks off with the family having dinner at the table. Meg bursts in and tells Lois that she needs a check for the school trip. Peter, always the joker, turns to Meg and asks if he didn't just take her to a field trip recently. Lois, ever prepared, takes out a check, but Peter playfully informs her that he's got it covered. In a curious tone, Chris asks Peter why there aren't any writings on his check.
Why don't your shelves have any trophies on them?
To which Peter playfully retorts, asking Lois the same question. With a mischievous smile, Lois reveals that it's just a wide pad of Post-its she gave to him. Then, in a moment of curiosity, Lois asks Peter where checks come from. And what does Peter reply? He cheekily says checks are created when mommy and daddy love each other. Peter concludes that he wants his very own check, and he wants it right now. Unable to resist Peter's infectious enthusiasm, Lois decides to take him to the bank to get his own check. As they approach the teller, Lois confidently explains that Peter wants to open a checking account. The teller politely requests a photo ID and a birth certificate. Peter hands it over. He types in his as Justin Peter Griffin, but Lois interferes, saying that isn't his name. A little bewildered, Lois takes the certificates and checks and asks Peter if his first name is actually Justin. Peter, caught off guard, admits he never noticed it before and becomes excited, exclaiming that it changes everything. Back at home, Peter approaches Lois and asks if she's seen his hiking boots, but something seems different about him. Puzzled, Lois questions why he looks the way he does. With newfound confidence, Peter reminds Lois that his name isn't Peter anymore, it's Justin, and he's living a Justin lifestyle, just like his family. Meg chimes in, finding this Justin phase of Peter's rather weird. Back at Quagmire's house, he had a great time with Kiara and insisted it was a great night. Quagmire tells Kiara he's sorry he can't drive her to work. Kiara tells him it's okay and she will just take the school bus back. Quagmire exclaims, asking if she drives a school bus. Kiara giggles, saying she takes the bus because she's in high school. In shock, Quagmire asked her didn't she say she was 23. Quagmire is surprised to hear a knock on his door and goes to open it, only to find the police standing there. Joe asks Quagmire if he slept with the girl. Quagmire replies, saying he doesn't want to go to jail, but he really wants to take the credit. Joe informs Quagmire that he's under arrest for statutory rape. Quagmire brushes it off, suggesting that he should be allowed to send the pictures he took to all his friends.
Oh yeah! Boom! You're disgusting. Take them away. We've got all the awesome evidence we need.
The doorbell rings, and Peter answers it, only to find Quagmire standing there. Quagmire reads a note he's holding, informing Peter that he's their neighbor on Spooner Street, and he's here to inform them that he's a sex offender. Peter comments that Quagmire could have easily memorized the note instead of reading it from the paper. Curious, Lois asks Quagmire to explain what's going on, and he reveals that the girl he met at Peter's party turned out to be a high schooler. Peter sarcastically remarks if that means Quagmire will be heading to Europe to make movies. Lois expresses her disbelief, questioning how Quagmire couldn't have known she was underage. Quagmire explains that he now has to appear in front of a judge. Peter jumps in, criticizing the flawed judicial system, while Lois insists that Quagmire has no choice but to face the consequences. Quagmire admits that there is no defense for statutory rape, and once a girl proves her age, it's a clear-cut case. He acknowledges the possibility of going to jail and emphasizes that the only hope for leniency is to present character witnesses who can prove he's not the monster they believe him to be. Lois suggests that Peter would be willing to help, and Peter proudly declares his persuasive abilities, boasting about his success in selling low-cost car insurance.
I fear as a penguin, don't know why.
The general car insurance. It'll worry whoever you hit.
At the courthouse, Peter steps in as the first witness, and the judge asks if he's here to speak on Quagmire's behalf. And Peter does what he does best.
Your Honor, and as we know, according to Game of Thrones, if the girl has had her blood, she is good to go. Has the girl had her blood?
He asks Peter whether he has evidence that's not based on television. Joe was asked to say what Quagmire said he did with the girl. Joe replies saying that he gave her a frosty gym. Cleveland is then asked of his occupation. Upset, Cleveland tells he didn't ask anyone else to name their occupation, and why is he on trial. Quagmire gets up telling everyone it's enough, and he needs no more help. Quagmire takes the stand, boldly proclaiming that he knows everyone is judging him, but before they do, they should understand the difficult upbringing he had. He shares how his dad, a military man, was absent most of the time, and his mom was involved in multiple relationships. He believes his problem started from the day he was born.
It's a boy, Mrs. Quagmire.
Ah, that's wonderful.
How do you feel?
Horny. Really horny. Could you put him back so I can push him out again?
Quagmire says he was born 9 times that day and faced constant challenges throughout his life. He learned the alphabet by memorizing the names of the men his mother was involved with, which was a terrible experience. Quagmire reveals that he never attended his high school prom, but his mother did. He expresses his frustration, explaining that he never had a chance to be like everyone else due to being raised by a promiscuous parent. The judge acknowledges that Quagmire's story is sad but emphasizes that it doesn't excuse his actions, and therefore, the only option is to sentence him to 20 years in prison. The courtroom gasps in shock at the severity of the sentence. Suddenly, Quagmire's mom enters the room, surprising everyone.
Ha! She's enjoyed many men.
Quagmire questions why she is there, and she pleads with the judge to show mercy on her son. Kira's mother interjects, telling her to go to hell. Quagmire's mom explains that she has turned her life around and found solace in her faith in Jesus Christ. She believes she can rehabilitate Quagmire with the guidance of God and asks the judge not to sentence him to jail, but instead release him into her custody. The judge expresses regret but upholds the original sentence, granting Quagmire 24 hours to put his affairs in order. Quagmire is devastated by the 20-year sentence, and he confronts his mother, expressing his anger at her audacity to come to his house and preach about seeking forgiveness when she has never apologized for her role in shaping him into who he is today. Brian intervenes, reminding Quagmire that he is a grown man and should take responsibility for his own choices. Quagmire questions why Brian, of all people, is defending a religious fanatic, and Brian sarcastically suggests that Quagmire should contemplate these matters while in jail. As Quagmire's mom tries to console him, she insists they're not going anywhere and questions the wisdom of God, claiming that he has a plan for everything. Quagmire finally understands why she turned to religion, using it as a means to absolve herself of any responsibility and respond with empty platitudes. He tells her she is the worst parent, and her newfound faith is just a way for her to escape accountability. His mom counters, saying that while the jail sentence may seem long, salvation lasts for eternity. Quagmire argues that mothers are supposed to love, nurture, and protect their children, but she has never done anything for him. He decides he would rather rot in jail than listen to her empty words and storms out of the room. His mom realizes she needs to fix things. At the entrance of the jail, Quagmire stands with his friends, bidding them farewell. Brian, happy with the situation, leaves the scene. Quagmire asks Peter to take care of his gold watch while he's away, but Peter casually tosses it away. He then asks Joe if he could take care of his cat, but Joe reveals that he took the cat to the pound in the morning, and she peacefully passed away. Upset and disappointed, Quagmire concludes that maybe he won't miss them as much as he thought. Cleveland asks if he has something for him, but Quagmire responds with a no, prompting Cleveland to criticize his selfish attitude, claiming it contributed to his current situation. Lois says her goodbyes to Glenn.
Be strong. We'll keep you in our thoughts. Oh, yeah, you better get rid of that before you get in there.
And Quagmire tells them not to worry about him and that he'll see them soon. As Quagmire enters the prison, tires screech, and the judge instructs him to wait. Quagmire is confused about what is happening. The judge reveals that he has good news. Quagmire's sentence has been commuted, and he will not be serving prison time after all. Quagmire is taken aback and asks his mom what she did. She proudly states that she did it, not once but twice. Quagmire questions her newfound Christianity, but she explains that helping him is the most Christian thing she could do. She admits that he was right about her being a terrible mother, acknowledging her absence when she was supposed to be there. She expresses her desire for a second chance, and Quagmire admits he would like that too. And they share a heartfelt hug. The episode comes to an end, and consider subscribing to help support the channel.
Quagmire got away with it and learned nothing. That's great.